Hi, my name is Terry. If you haven't been to my channel before, I am a full-time reseller on eBay. I quit my job over a couple years ago and just started selling like crazy on eBay. So today I am going to do a what sold video, and I'm also going to show you what I'm doing with my space. If you've seen my other videos, I usually shoot my videos right here, and there's 3 shelves usually behind me, just directly behind me going this way. And so now I only have all of these shelves over here that you will see in the videos now. So I had this shelf right here, was right here, just right behind me, and it drove me crazy. I just felt very claustrophobic. So over this last weekend, my husband actually cleared out the rest of his stuff. So now clearly the only thing in this garage is my eBay stuff. So this wall right here used to have the last of his items. He loves books, so he had quite a few boxes of books. And so now these 2 shelves are mine. I'll be using this one, at least 2 shelves of it I'll be using for my things that are a photograph and that I'm going to get ready to list. And then this one will have a lot of stuff on it that needs to be photographed. And then my husband is still going through some of his stuff. So hopefully in my next video after this one, I could show you my progress, because I still have a lot of stuff laying around. I gotta clean up all that mess, and I'm gonna organize things. I have extra space up there that I know I can utilize. So as a reseller, I feel like we're always trying to find more room and consolidating and always tweaking our space a little bit better. So let's get started with the things that I sold over the past like 10 days or so, 10 or 12 days. Here we go. So I am going to skip kind of the undervalued things and some of the things that just aren't really that interesting. So here we go. So the first item is from the hobby shop, and they had so much paint. And so they are the Testor brand, and Testor stopped making paints. So it's this brand that everybody who does models knows of, this brand of paint. And unfortunately, the company just stopped making it. I'm sure there's many other companies out there that make model paints, but I think these are pretty sought after now. So this paint is actually from 2002, and so these older colors can be something that people are on the lookout for when they're wanting a collection for all of their models that they build. So I sold 2 different lots here to the same person. So this smaller lot, these tinier bottles, this lot sold for $67. And then I have these a little bit bigger and newer bottles, but they're still from 2011. So this other lot sold for $207. And so their total purchase was $305 plus shipping. As you know, I do not pay for shipping. My customer always pays for shipping. So for all of that paint right there, I paid $43 for it. I love picking these up. I just picked up about 5 or 6 of them from our town's community garage sale. We had it town-wide. And so these were at the Grange, I believe it was. I paid 50 cents a piece for them. And this one sold for $20. And it's a cross-stitch item, and it's unopened. This is a hobby shop item, and I had these tracks listed. Somebody purchased 2 of them. They were selling for $17.97 each, and they paid $39.94. So about a year and a half ago, I think it's been now, I purchased these big, giant, they were model cars, and I went to an estate sale. It is in one of my previous videos, But these cars, when we all rushed into the estate sale and saw the price on those, everybody just walked away. Well, I did make an offer for the next day, which was going to be half off, but they weren't sure if they were selling those half off. Anyway, I ended up with 10 of these cars, and I paid up for them. I mean, some of them I paid $500 for, but the very first one that I sold gave me back all my money. I made back $3,600 on one car, and that's what I paid for it. And then some of the cars were going for $1,500, $2,000, $2,500. This particular one is completely different from all the others, and it wasn't as valuable, but I did end up paying $210 for this one, and it sold for $400. Let me show you what it looks like. This is it. I believe this was made in Germany, and the pieces in this are intense because I did have one that was open, and they're just really cool cars, and not anybody can build these. You definitely have to have built cars for a long time, and even if you did this on all of your spare time for your hobby, it would probably still take you well over a year to build this. It's pretty intense. So these are a little bit different from the other ones that I showed you. These were $22.47 each, and somebody bought all three of them, and they sold for $74.91 for all three. Here is a Monster High doll. I picked up a whole bunch of these, probably about 40 or 50 of them, and I have sold probably half of them, a little more than half maybe. And I paid $20 for each one, and some of them were only selling for $30, $35. Some were selling for $100 or a little bit more than $100, and this one sold for $70. I love these. These are from the late 90s, and they're pens, but they're little game pens. So I picked these up at a garage sale. It's been, I think I picked up 6 of them. I sold 3 of them in a lot already not too long ago, and now I just sold the last 3, and gosh, I probably had them for close to a couple years. I paid $1 each for them, so I have $3 into this, and they sell for $40. Woody and Jessie, I love these. I bought these probably, it's been at least a couple years ago. I went to this really big sale. It was so big that they actually had to move it into a big hall just to get all of this person's belongings in there. Apparently they owned a big antique store in Southern California back in the 80s, and then they closed it down and they threw everything into storage for all those years. So obviously they kept adding stuff because this is not from the 80s. So I think when everybody rushed in there, they were after all of the furniture and the collectible glass. I ran straight for the toys. Some of the things in there were very overpriced, and some things were really cheap. Luckily, all the toys were really cheap. So if you saw, I think it was in my last video, I sold a Woody doll, and I purchased it at the same place. And I had paid $10 for the Woody, and I sold it for $250. So this one is, I think, is even better. I paid $30 for it, but I only sold it for $150. I've had it listed for a very long time. The person, after they purchased it, wanted to know if they actually worked. So I actually had to open it up, take all those twisty ties off of them, and put new batteries in them. You had to pull off the cable. It was quite time consuming, but I was able to send him a video and show him that they were working, and they interact. They talk to each other, and they say together, they say over 100 phrases, and really cute phrases. They yodel and just talk about all kinds of funny stuff. So he was super happy, and I will be shipping this out to him today. He said he actually has had a set of these for 20 years, and Jessie just stopped working. And he said that Woody will just keep saying, "I want to talk to Jessie," and she just never answers back, which I think is pretty funny.
I'd like to talk to Chef Woody.
I don't have it on the interactive mode because it'll probably just keep going during shipping, so I took it off that mode.
I'd like to talk to Jessie.
So that's all they really say right now.
I'm talking to you. Hey, howdy, hey. I'm Sheriff Woody. Glad to have you along.
Anyway, I love it. I purchased this.
The Roundup gang is back in town.
Woody, pipe down. I purchased
I wear this badge to keep the outlaws away. See? Works pretty good, doesn't it?
He's not going to stop. I purchased this new in box model car for $2.85 from the hobby shop, and it sold for $20. So the rest of the items I'm going to show you have already been shipped out, so I'm just going to go through them really quickly. This next item is from the hobby shop, and I paid $7.85 for it, and it sold for $55. It's just a little structure that would go with a big train structure that you're building. Here is another Monster High doll I paid $20 for, and this one sold for $55. This Great Courses, their books and DVDs, I have picked up around 3 times now, I think. And I usually end up picking up a big box of them, and I love to pick up the new ones. They do have them used, and I have picked up some used ones before, as long as they look like they've never been used. So I paid $1 for each stack. Sometimes they'll come with a big stack of books and maybe 5 or 6 DVDs. And sometimes they'll sell for $100, and sometimes they'll only sell for $20. I know I picked up a whole bunch right before COVID hit, so a lot of people were using them for school and teaching. So I have $1 into this, and I sold it for $24. This is about the 4th or 5th baby blanket that I have picked up like this, that has a little bit of cross stitch or embroidery on it, and I assume they're probably from anywhere from the 20s, 40s, 50s. And it seems like every one that I have sold, I've tried washing and using stain remover, and they still may have a little bit of stain on them, and point it out in the photos and in the description, and people still want these. So this is kind of a new thing that I started finding. So be on the lookout for these for sure. So I paid $5 for this, and I sold it for $47. And I sell them pretty quickly. So these train cars I picked up at the hobby shop when I did the buyout, and I paid $15.70 for this, and it sold for $110. These shoes were my husband's. He purchased them, and then he never wore them. He could have got them at Ross or at Marshall's or something like that. So I'm not sure exactly how much he paid for them. Knowing him, he probably got them on sale and got them for $15. And I sold them for $31.20. I purchased this from the hobby shop buyout, and I paid $17.70 for it, and I sold it for $124. I love this dress that I picked up about a year ago, but it did not bring that much money. I ended up paying $20 for it, and I only sold it for $37.60, and I just thought it had such a great bohemian look to it. But that's okay, somebody bought it and it's going out. This was my own scale that I've had for many, many years. I used to own a coffee shop quite a few years ago, and this came with it when I had bought the coffee shop. So I'm not sure how much I have into this, but I don't use it anymore. I decided to sell it, and I sold it for $90. Here's another Monster High doll that I paid $20 for, and I sold for $70. This next item is a Laura Ashley straw hat, and I did not know that straw hats could be this valuable. I actually learned it from Courtney on Bolo Betties. If you haven't seen her channel, definitely go look at her channel. She has some great content, and she puts out videos almost daily. So go check her out. I will leave a link down below in this video to her channel. But she is the one that showed in one of her videos to definitely look at a label inside these straw hats and look it up. So this one I paid $5 for, and I sold it for $99. Okay, so the same person bought both of these items, which made me feel really good because they were shopping in my store and they actually purchased two completely different items. I do have a coupon that pops up that if you purchase two things, you will get 10 or 20% off. So maybe that's why they were looking for something else so they could get a little bit better deal and find something else that they needed. So altogether, they spent $284.49. So the first one that they bought is a throw blanket that I paid $14 for, and they paid $53.54 for it. And the second item I purchased at an estate sale and I paid up for it, but I knew that it was going to sell really decent. So I paid $35 for it and it sold for $202.50. And it's an electrical tester. This Carhartt jacket sold overnight. I believe it's from the early 90s. And I paid $8 for it at our community sale. I bought it at somebody's garage sale and I sold it for $115 overnight. It sold so fast. Was very happy about that. So for my last item that I'm super excited about is an Atari computer, and this is from the 80s. I went to a sale to buy a bunch of trains and they actually had two identical sets of these Atari computers. There wasn't a monitor to go with it, but I happened to have in my inventory an old 80s TV that I could actually hook them up to see if they were working. The first one I put on an auction for $399 and it got bid up, I believe, to $455. And that went international and it made it safe and everything. So this one, I put it on auction for 7 days for $450 and nobody purchased it. So when auction ended, I just threw it up at $450, buy it now. And somebody purchased it within a week. So this one also is going up for $450. So I paid $80 for both. So I paid $40 for each set and I made $900 on both of them. That was such a great find. So those were some of my sales in the last 12 days or so. Thank you for watching. If you like this, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, you can always hit the bell if you want to get notified on a next video that I put out. And I will see you on the next one.